All right. Were we late today?
Nope.
8 o'clock. No. On the dot. Woohoo! All right. So today, according to the thumbnail, I have deemed myself king, and this is my court. You know, it's one king and three jesters, right?
I'm just a
Okay.
janitor in the court. I'm not even a jester.
Okay. John can be elevated for jester. Maybe he's not
What
a
was the
jester.
guy who had to clean out the shit the toilets? That's me. That was a highly regarded position back in those days. Looking at history.
Uh, lag. I just want you to know that your comment on the video last night had me laughing. Johnny's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Fucking lag," and she's like, "What do you mean lag?" I'm like, "It take too much to explain." Uh, Lag made some comment. I told him that he was my hero. He said, "Well, no, you're my hero. Well, except for mom." I'm like, "That's just that's just stupid." RG, what's up,
I'm just
buddy?
glad I got him blocked. This guy drives me nuts.
Uh, so today is all going to be about. We're going to talk about eBay through the lens of Amazon, and the premise. This show. I don't know how many new people will show up, but the one. I'm going to tell you why selling on Amazon makes Amazon sellers better eBay sellers. We, Dusty and I used to talk about this a lot. This is not a big secret, but I think in this, right now where eBay's having an issue here or there, and eBay's changing, and people are there. All they want to do is you've got a handful of people who have no business experience who are selling mall clothes that they get from the bin for $1 or something a pound, and they have deemed because they list. They sit down on a computer and list 100, 200 items a day. They have deemed themselves experts in eBay, and if they don't sell something, well, damn it, eBay turned the servers off because I didn't sell anything. No, you're peddling
What
shit.
shit people want?
You're peddling shit, and that's. So I've got a list of where's my phone? I got a list of. I need to move the charger over here that I won't miss any of these things. But I got a list of like 8 or 9 things, 8 or 9 reasons, and I don't know how to say your name, Callie Dev. Yeah, Callie Dev. Sorry, welcome to the show. Uh, Hopefully you're not offended very easily
Yeah, I was
because
gonna say. Hopefully it might. Hopefully it's not your last.
yeah. So
If
we
this is the first one, there's a good chance it's the last one.
because the problem here is we don't sugarcoat it. If you're wrong, we tell you we're wrong. If I'm wrong, I tell you I'm wrong. There's no, it does you no good to have a feel good story about, you know, if you just keep listening, if you call eBay, you know, those, just pick any crazy item that are listed that, if you put 100,000 of them up, somebody will buy one every now and they'll trip over them. But there's really no demand for an item. eBay is changing where they're not going to feature you in search, and you're not going just because you're sitting there, you know, neglecting everything to list all these items. Um, so Amazon made me better. So if I'm wrong in any of this, you guys let me know. Callie Dev said they're tough, so um, shit doesn't sell. That's right. So shit does not sell. So the first thing I came up with, and these guys are going to chime in because, well, Todd doesn't sell on Amazon, but he'll just give you a thumb up or thumb down. Uh, Amazon sell-through rate. You are taught sell-through rate from the beginning. If you don't understand sell-through rate on Amazon, you will die a slow, pitiful death. And what do I mean by sell-through rate? It's sales rank. That's all sales rank is. It tells you how frequently something sells based on the category.
That's I was gonna say based on the category because you can have a great sales rank in a category that doesn't sell.
Every category is not the same, because of sales velocity. That's another one. Sales velocity and sales rank are not the same in every category. Do you think eBay sellers understand that the sales velocity of every item is not the same?
No, absolutely not.
If I put up a
Not
digital
an
camera,
average. No.
if I put up a digital camera, it'll sell today, tomorrow. If I put up a vintage camera, it will still sell in a few days. If you put up a clothing and just market saturation and all this stuff, they just don't understand that. And for all
Unless
of you,
it's 30 socks sell quick.
oh yeah, I was supposed to. Damn it.
Going back to the cameras, even when you could put two cameras by the same brand and one has a great sell-through rate and the other camera by the same brand doesn't.
No, I forgot. There's a link in the chat. It's so. Do I want eBay to change? You're damn right I want eBay to change, because the one thing I can tell you is if I'm putting up items that people want, I should not be behind that damn eBayer who will sit all night or all day listing items that nobody wants, but they're in search ahead of the stuff that I'm selling because, well, they're a good eBayer. They're on the platform. They're on the platform for 18, 20 hours a day. They could tell you everything that's wrong with the platform. No, they can't, because they look through it through the eyes of somebody who doesn't know what the fuck they're doing. I mean, you got to understand.
There goes the $2 monetization.
I don't care. I'm gonna lose $2 a day. It's all right. The one thing I can tell you about everything I say, man, go research it, go try it for yourself, and go figure it out if I'm right or wrong, because it makes a difference when you listen to it. So one of these guys, somebody said, "Hey, listen to this person. He's a young guy, young reseller. He's been doing a little while. He's selling a lot of stuff. He seems to be pretty knowledgeable." So I'm watching one of his TikToks, and somebody asked him, do I need a business license to sell on Amazon? You know what his answer was?
No.
Well, you can sell on Amazon as a sole proprietor, as a or an LLC. Just depends on how you want to form your business and what kind of liability you want. I'm sitting here thinking, that's not the question, you dumbass. A business license is a fee that a government charges you for your local area or your state area in order to operate a business. They didn't ask you what kind of business. They didn't ask you form structure. This person cannot simply read a question, and he's successful. Don't get me wrong, but that doesn't mean he can explain to you. This is somebody whose YouTube is growing and carrying on and gets a lot of views. Be careful who you listen to. It's that's insane that you can't answer a simple question. I heard that and I hit the little X in the corner. I'm like, man, I'm out.
Well, technically, you do not, but you should.
Grumpy has lost a ton of weight.
One of the first things I did, especially when I became an Amazon seller, was go out and get form an LLC and all that stuff, because it's the smart thing to do. But it doesn't mean it's necessary.
You'll get questions about, do I need business insurance? Well, eBay doesn't require it. I don't need business. It's like any other set of insurance. What happens if you sell a shirt that's, I'm just a clothing seller, I don't need insurance. Well, what if you send out a shirt and somebody's child bites on it and chokes on it? They declare that you didn't give them a warning that shirt can cause choking, and they want to sue you and for everything you've done, and you have not set up this business correctly, so you don't have any separation where you've got a separate checking account, and so you run everything together because I'm just a sole proprietor. Everything goes together, so I don't need a separate checking account. And now there's no LLC protection. There's no any kind of protection. You don't have any insurance. They're coming after your house and everything you own, and they're going to put you in debt for the rest of your life because their child choked on a shirt that you sold. Baseball, it makes a difference. eBay could be a ton better if we treated. Okay, so here on my list of things of why I'm a better eBay seller than most people because of Amazon. Number 3 on the list is customer service. It's a pain in the ass when you first start on Amazon that you must answer every message in 24 hours. You can look at my messages and now I answer them all within like 30 minutes. Most, this shows up on my phone or I get a message, I answer. How many people do you know that sell them? Oh, that's just a customer. I don't want to. How many times these people tell you see them all the time and you hear it in comments, that customer's asking a lot of questions. I don't want them to buy it. They're going to return it. The same person will tell you that I don't want any zero buyers because zero buyers are just problems. This is the same person who would tell you their sales suck. They don't have any customers, yet they are running off the ones that are interested in their shit and that they don't want new people. And then they'll go, well, eBay doesn't reach enough people. They're losing market share and they're losing sales volume, but don't give me no new people. This is the mentality that you're dealing with on eBay. There's got to be somebody. I'm salty. There's got to be somebody out there who's the voice of reason, who says, listen, a lot of the stuff that happens on eBay to you is your damn fault.
Wait. Somebody said you're salty?
Oh yeah. Just wait.
I gotta give you a little analogy here. I grew up in a town over in Pennsylvania. Recently, they wanted to put in a new business park, with all the little shops and stuff, not shopping center, but manufacturing shops on a piece of vacant land that used to grow corn a couple of years ago. And those people over there said, we don't want this in our town. It's the same mentality as people on eBay. They're stuck in their ways and they don't want anything new over there, which would have brought in millions of dollars in revenue. But yet, because, well, what about the cornfield? Stop thinking about the doggone cornfield,
Yeah, here's a great example. I grew up in Kinston, North Carolina. Look it up. Kinston, North Carolina right now, what's it known for? Jerry Stackhouse came from there. There's several NBA basketball players that came from there. But if you look at the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, they had a chance early on. They turned down the chance to have East Carolina University. East Carolina University wanted to be in Kinston, North Carolina. They said no. They went 30 minutes up the road to Greenville. That's where East Carolina University sits today. A large university with a large training hospital, nice university. So what did Kinston choose? Kinston chose the Caswell Center instead. The Caswell Center, don't get me wrong, I'm not bashing the Caswell Center. It is a center for mentally handicapped, and they do nice work, helping people. But if you're interested in growth, you don't make the decision of a major university or a center for the mentally retarded. It is insane. And so as you watch all the decisions of this town that is still not huge to today, 15, 20,000 people, whatever it is. I could be off on that. I've been gone. I left there in 1986. I've been gone a long time. It's still a shithole though. I know that because I've been back. But they made decisions to stunt their own growth because the powers that be did not want to be big. You as a business owner and selling on eBay, well, first of all, you are a business owner, whether you know it or not, whether you want to admit it. Make decisions in your business that stunt your own damn growth. And until you understand that and see things through the lens of your business and what's good for your business versus, what you think you should do, you're never, ever, it's always going to be somebody else's fault. It's never going to be, I had great sales Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They slowed down a little bit the last couple of days. Why is that? Well, first of all, I've been shipping so damn much, I hadn't had time to list. I shipped 87 yesterday. When I didn't have time to list, and when I finally got done, I'm like, I'm done with reselling for today. So I'll be back to listening again today.
I think a lot of the problem in the reselling community and every community is that there's a vocal minority who says this is broken, that's broken, you can't do this, you can't do that, and they're the wrong ones to listen to. They're the vocal minority, so you hear them. Nobody bitches about things going right.
Yes. So the next thing I've got is I am used to pay to play. I've got an expert on pay to play on Amazon on this panel right now. I don't know anybody who knows pay per click more than John.
Oh, John.
John's. Whenever they said, you're allowed to to pay for advertising to attract people to your products, the first thing John did was, well, let me find some products that are in demand that people buy every day. He called them granny panties early on, but he went into product lines that you use up, start over. Very similar concept to selling groceries and selling food. And he goes, you know what? I need to figure out how that I can use Amazon's advertising to get them to me and not somebody else. And then I need to, sell a product that keeps them. So the product's got to be good enough. They've got to come back, and they've got to know I'm alive. And he went from being a smaller seller to me to being worth multi-millions of dollars in his company. That nobody would give you 10 cents from mine. They go, you did what? You want to do what? So now eBay has done the same thing. eBay's looked at, for better or worse, eBay's looked over to Amazon and go, Amazon's getting 25 to 30% fees. 4 or 5 years ago, promoted listing started. I told y'all then it's a money grab. They're going after it. But I also told you that if you don't learn promoted listings and how they work on eBay, people are going to sell stuff all around you.
Wait. Just to give you an idea of what my numbers look like, in the trailing 12 months, I've spent $157,702 on pay-per-click. I've generated 1.3 million in sales, and I've had 86 million people see my listings.
Yeah, that's that. You're not even.
I love how John's got the old movie effect going on. His mouth is moving.
I'll tell you what it is, Steve. I bought a cheap frickin' camera with a microphone.
It's hilarious. But anyway, go ahead.
I'm glad I could make you laugh today.
I'm just thinking of one of those old, black and white Japanese movies.
Godzilla's going to show up.
Yeah. I know you're trying to make a serious point, but it was funny.
No, but I did the same thing with eBay, guys. If you don't listen, these platforms put this shit out there, and you can bitch all you want. 99% of the time, it ain't going away.
We need to stop all these things where people, the platforms are not out to get you. They're not out to put you out of business. How many, John, as long as we've been doing this, people have been saying Amazon's against the small seller. They want to get rid of the small seller. I mean, they've been talking about that. I started in 2013. They've been saying that. And now the same thing is coming through eBay. eBay only wants the big seller. They don't want the small seller. They're only, folks, if eBay lost small sellers, they're done. They are absolutely done.
Amazon might be able to live without it.
And now the same thing is coming through eBay. eBay only wants the big seller. We got a rookie on there.
Godzilla's here.
Hey, we got somebody to sell shit.
Welcome to the show.
Telling you, it sells. Look it up. If you can sell shit on eBay, you should be able to sell clothing.
But you don't limit yourself. You're not like the people I'm talking about. The people I'm talking about you just have one item. You'll sell anything. You're an anything vintage seller, basically. That's what I would call you.
I literally will sell anything. So there's a difference between some people who call themselves an everything seller, and I'm not picking on anybody, and me. Because here's the thing for a lot of people. You have to have the setup. You have to have the setup to list clothing. You have to have a setup to list hard goods. You have to have a setup to list quilts and blankets, and you have to have a setup where you could list a car, take pictures. Anybody can do that. You can drive through the car wash and then drive underneath the nice.
I mean, just list at what I'm shipping today: Panasonic camera, big girl underwear, a remote, a lot of kids books, a spout cover for so your kid doesn't get burned in the bathtub, a VTech game, the ultimate sweater machine as seen on TV from the 90s.
Oh yeah. And
then the separate part that goes with it. That's just eBay today. The crazy stuff that I'm selling. But there's two cameras. I didn't read one of the cameras, but there's two cameras. That's the only multiple is two cameras. Everything else is just shotgun.
But you make money.
You know, you can sell batteries on eBay.
I never even heard of that brand.
These are vintage, they're
They're
collectible,
old.
and they're worth about $40. Wait a minute. At the same estate sale, I got there's two of these. I'm only going to show you one because here's the card that it goes on, and there's the battery.
And nobody wanted those. They damn near gave them to you.
People, I think I paid 50 cents for the box and the two 4 batteries. Yeah.
But it's
The problem isn't the stuff that people are selling or trying to sell. The problem is, number one, people don't have patience because not everything has a high sell-through rate.
I ain't a frickin' doctor.
You know, what'd you do? and knowledge base. Everything will sell in time for sure. And I will continue to say, list it and forget it. No, I don't mean list it and never touch that listing again. I mean, list it and don't come back in 3 months, especially for me, because I do a lot of vintage and collectible one-offs. It's not going to sell. It's not always going to sell right away. I sold something this morning. They paid for it. They bought it yesterday that I have had listed since I moved from the farm for 2 years. And they just paid internationally $170 some. So was that worth it for me to pick it up for $2 and to let it sit in a tote for a year or so? Didn't bother me any for it to be there. I have room to store it.
But you also didn't build your business model on the fact that you had to have that sale the next day.
Nope. My house is paid for. My car is paid for. I owe nobody no money on any credit cards. I have 3 credit cards that I just have recently gotten, and I had to get them. Why? Because I had no credit score, because I've never had anything on credit, because I pay cash for everything. So I spent the last year and a half with a house, a $500,000 house paid for. Couldn't even get a line of credit on my house because I have no credit. I'm nobody out there. Don't do that to yourself, guys. That was sheer stubbornness on my part. But so I still have bills, right? I got property tax. I have electricity, water and garbage and sewage and a car and all of that stuff. So yes, I still have bills, but this is my only income, and I might not make 25,000. My 90-day total's right at 18,000. I'm happy. And my cost of goods is minimal.
So here's another one that I've got on my list. Harlan and I talk about this a lot, and everybody here can, this is the exact opposite of you. Amazon teaches you that Keepa can tell you how many items a person has. So if I want to sell this Coke and everybody on the list, I can see how many Cokes they're selling. And so I can look at it and go, well, there's 300 available. And I can look at other programs and go, it sells probably 30 a month. That's 10 months of supply there. Do I really want to sink my money in this? eBay sellers don't consider that. So Harlan we were at the auction and he showed me something. He goes, this is pretty good money. He started looking at it. He goes, I'm going to send it to the auction. I'm like, you're not going to stick it on eBay? Because he's wanting to do a little more eBay. And he said it sells for good money on eBay. He said, but there's enough supply. There's a year supply offered right now. And so,
yeah.
So if you've got an item that you're not smart enough to look at and do the math and go, there's a year's worth of them on here, and you just put it at the max price, which you fell in love with because somebody got $100 for a $70 item, and now you're competing because I'm not giving eBay another dime. I'm not promoting anything. So you've got an item that is overpriced according to eBay and the way they rank the listing. You're not promoting and you're not playing, and you're at an item that's got a year, and you sit back and go, well, that item sells all the time. It's got a 500% sell-through rate. How come I can't sell my shit? how many mistakes you have to make in one listing, and then go, well, YouTube's free. I can make a YouTube channel and make people feel sorry for me. It's
that's where I went wrong. That's why I don't have that many subscribers.
That's why my channel has been losing subscribers for several years. A lot of it is I don't do the Amazon videos anymore. I understand that. I also am not very, I am smart enough to realize that I am on YouTube and social media. I get it. It's not been that important to me, and that's why the channel, that's why I don't have half a million subscribers.
I don't have a quarter, but I found this silver walking liberties. Can you use that to call somebody who cares?
Man, that's
I'm just teasing you, Scott. I love you. You know that.
I love some Travis Tritt. That's a great song.
Scott, you can call me off there.
All right, I'll call.
That was more for Todd. I wanted him to know that
one of the last times I actually called,
just send that over here.
Your phone was dead, and you're like, "Who is this?" I'm like, "What the fuck you mean? Who is this?" But there's so much to reselling that people don't. They just think that if they throw it up there at the price it is, the highest price it is sold at, that they're entitled for it to sell. If not, eBay hates them.
So you know who Marcus is, right?
Probably not.
He and somebody else that I won't name have a Patreon together. Marcus has been around for a couple of years now, and
what's this channel, man?
He sells mostly clothing, but he was selling a lot of low-end clothing. He just got back from a trip to South America. Hey, Mr. Sadie.
Okay, so I think I know who that is.
No, he is.
South America is where he went.
He went to South America, yeah.
Yeah. I know. I'm subscribing to him.
He's kind of like me in some ways. When I was his age. He's a slow learner, but the minute that he catches something, he's got it, and it'll never leave him. And I've been watching him over the last couple of months, and he's really he's really starting to realize, and he says it in his videos, that going to the bins and buying low end crap, that's not his words, by the way, I'm paraphrasing, is not working for him. Working 12 hours a day is not working for him because he doesn't have a life. So now he put the call out. He's got somebody that's doing some sourcing for him, finding him more high dollar items, because he said making a sale where he's breaking even is just not worth it. Now, not all of his sales were like that, but I see more. I don't know the proper words to use, so I'm just going to be me. I see more whining and complaining from people who are in niches.
Yeah.
You're getting these people that are in niches are hurting the most. I'm in a lot of niches. I'm in every niche you can be in, because that's what happens when you shop at estate sales, because it's the whole house. If something sold once, it's probably going to sell twice or 3 times or 4 times. But if us do not do our due diligence to list it correctly and follow the code of whatever platform we're putting it on, then you're not going to survive.
And I mean, it's as simple as so many people fight the platforms. They're just coming to me that how much bitching to have item specifics on eBay. How many people have gotten on YouTube and told and really influenced a lot of people that it's a horrible item. We shouldn't help eBay build their catalog. We shouldn't put any item specifics on there. When if you look at it from the other way, is every time you list an item specific, it shows you the number of searches that this item now qualifies for. And so you can listen to the people who tell you, oh my God, I can't believe we have to do this. Just barely do the bare minimum, or put more information about your item and get it in front of more eyes, which one makes sense. But, in order we hold a lot of these people up as reselling guys because they turn a camera on. They're no smarter or no dumber than anybody else. They just turn a camera on, and it's up to you. The one thing people don't on eBay, they don't know the fees. What's the one thing on Amazon when you scan something with the Amazon app, it tells you what the fulfillment fees are when you're looking at when you're looking at it in the app if you've never done it before, and so you automatically start thinking in terms of this item sells for $10. The fees right here are $6. My gross proceeds are going to be $4.
If you don't know the fees, then you shouldn't be selling on the platform. If you don't know the rules, you shouldn't be selling on the platform. It's called terms of service. If you haven't read the terms of service, you shouldn't be selling on the platform. Is there a lot to read? Yeah. Is this something you want to do for the rest of your life? I do.
Oh, absolutely.
I got 4 phone calls last week while I was driving for people wanting me to come back into the inspection world. $75 an hour. We'll pay to move you. No, sorry. I said when I used to do this, I made $180 an hour, and I traveled, and my per diem paid for my 1 week of my per diem paid for my son's quarter at college. I'm very happy where I'm at. I don't need you, but you want to send me an email, I'll send it out to the guys that I know that are still doing this. Boeing is dying because they don't have enough qualified inspectors. I'm not moving to Seattle.
Yeah, that'd be a hard no. But let me look at my list here to see what's but it's so reading the terms of service, following the rules. So the one thing that's different, which I think eBay is getting there a little bit, but they need to be a little more strict. I never ever think about losing my eBay account. Never. It never crosses my mind that I could lose an eBay account. Amazon, on the other hand, I think about it every fucking day that Amazon could just decide, even somebody John's size, Amazon could look at him and tell him that he's done something and force him to fight. They've done it, John.
They're coming for you, John.
I'm not saying
they got me last week.
They got you last week.
Yeah, but it's you'll never feel secure on Amazon. So you follow the rules because you've got to hit as many check boxes. Go over to Amazon and sell stuff and don't answer customer messages within 24 hours and see how long you last.
How hard is it to answer a customer message, by the way?
Very.
When I have interactions with customers, I have a lot of the nicest interactions. People are really
the person that bought this item that I'm shipping out today to overseas, they sent me an offer for $120. I had it listed for $229. It was on sale for $183. They sent me an offer for $120. I'm like, sold. $8 for it.
So here's a story of a message. A guy messages me and says, "You sent me the wrong Blu-ray player." And I started looking around, and I'm like, I'll be damned, I sent the wrong Blu-ray player. This one doesn't work for me. He said, I didn't have the remote, so I drop shipped it from Amazon, and he said the remote works fine. I'm like, all right, I'm out of string, sorry, but I'm gonna put it out today. I'll give you a new tracking number. I'm gonna put a return slip in the box. If you didn't know, Pirate Ship will give you you can put a return you can buy a return label. The guy gets it, and you know what the message back I get. Thank you so much for that. It was very easy to deal with, even though it was a little difficult with a mistake. It took a couple extra days. You know what? The next thing he asked me, "What would you take for this one? I'll just keep both of them." He bought both of them because I interacted with this guy in a positive way and was apologizing for my error. He bought both Blu-ray players.
That's the way to do it.
Or you could bitch and moan, he's going to pull a switch on me, that kind of bullshit.
Right, because we're all humans and we all make mistakes, right? I did the same thing 4 weeks ago with a flatware set. And this lady had, I don't know how many times, sent me lowball offers on this flatware set, and I told her I wasn't going to go any lower than this price. I'd already sold the duplicate set to it, and I said there aren't any others out there. She goes, I know, and I go, so here's my lowest price on this. You have to know what you have. You have to know your competition. You have to know what you have. You have to know the quality of what you have. Sometimes just knowing what you have and that nobody else has one out there, and I'm gonna show you that one in a minute, is all. She got the thing and she sent me. She goes, this is not the correct flatware. And I was like, oh crap. So it was Sunday night. It was 10 o'clock at Sunday night. I got in my car, went to storage, and I literally looked. Sure enough, I sent her the wrong stuff. And I said, I have it right here, printing out a label. I'm sending you the tracking. And she goes, if you put a return label in, I'll send these other ones back to you. And she got them, and she gave me good feedback, and she thanked me that she got them just in time for whatever event she was doing. So people are humans out there just like us.
J-Rod, Amazon is not the Wild West. Walmart is the Wild West. Amazon has a lot of rules that if you screw around, you lose your account quickly.
Walmart, I would say Amazon is the opposite of the Wild West.
Yeah, Walmart is the Wild West. And so another thing that we discount, two hip chicks, Dawn and Mary are in here, so it's nice to see you ladies. I enjoy y'all's Tuesday and Thursday show. Thank y'all for putting up with my sense of humor. But I listed a video camera, and Dawn, I was telling Dawn, yeah, you need to list that. I think it's worth $150. I listed one of mine last night. Actually, I got pictures of it. This could be listed after the show. But they made a comment earlier about demand and how things change. The economy is in the dumps, folks. Gavlik, here's my liberal contribution. The fucking government, and look at every Democratic shithole is trying to take this country down to nothing. And the Rhino Republicans are right along with them. So I watched the video. I did the numbers, and they were correct. Here's how bad it is, folks. Nobody's going to tell you this. If you were in the Great Depression, which is known as one of the worst economic times in this country's history, 25% of the population was unemployed. The average wage of a family was $3,000 to $4,000. Okay, $3,000 to $4,000.
People walked around with pitchforks and shovels trying to get jobs. Literally,
you extrapolate $3,000 to $4,000 to today's dollars, with inflation and all that adjusted. That's $80,000 to $90,000 for those two numbers, that two range. The average family only makes like $65,000, $66,000. You go, okay, so the average family is actually worse off now by monetary standards than they were in the Great Depression. But let me continue on. What's different between? I ran it on this last night at dinner. What's different between and the Depression and that 1930? Income tax and sales tax were non-existent or very low back then. Think about the taxes, the hundreds of taxes you pay. The government has bent you over with no lube and stuck it up your ass and called it a fee. Because if it's mandatory, it's a tax. It has to be approved by Congress and a lot of it by us. So if they call it a fee, everybody goes, okay, fee. Do you need a license? A business license depends on whether your city wants to tax you or not. Oh, I'm sorry, fee you or not. And so we are way worse off as a people right now than they ever were in the Great Depression. But they want to tell you how sunny it is and blow smoke up your ass as they continue to give, as the actor from Ukraine comes over here and tells you that climate change is destroying Libya, and that we need to give him another $30 billion from a country that is $33 trillion in debt. We go look at Rome and all these ancient countries that printed all this money and collapsed. We are there, folks. So there you go, Gavlik. Take that liberal view and stick it up your ass.
So I guess what you're saying is everything's not all rainbows and unicorn farts. And you
wonder why. I'm just using this because it's a dying media. I have nobody in mind, or a pair of Lee jeans. We can use Lee jeans. That pair of Lee jeans. And you're wondering why that pair of Lee jeans that you picked up for a quarter at the bins is not selling immediately or not selling and wonder why, it's eBay's fault when the economy is in the shitter. Products change in when the economy is. I've been telling y'all for the last year and a half, used items sell. Used items sell. If you're on eBay and you don't parting out is a great option right now because people are going to fix what's broken. Used items sell. They're not going to replace a lot of these new things. What's one of the first things that dies whenever the economy dies? People don't buy antiques. There is a subset of people that have got so much money like John that they can buy whatever the fuck they want. And if they want antiques, they will buy antiques. But
anybody pick this up?
With Chuck E. Cheese, yeah, I'll buy that.
I would too, but I got it for free.
Like said, his Old Navy is not selling, reselling. But that's the mentality right now.
None of your Old Navy is selling.
Yeah,
man.
Like.
Yeah, my sales are up 35%.
My sales are down 22.5%. It's telling me right now. That's bullshit. I don't even look 95% of the time at the traffic and all of that crap on eBay because I don't think it's correct. I can tell you that my 90-day total is way up, and it's 5,000 more than it was in May and June.
My last 31 days, I'm up 1%. But in the last 90 days, I've only sold 21,000. But to put this in perspective, I ignored eBay so bad last year that I only sold 24,000 the whole year. I've sold almost my year's total in the last 90 days. Think about that. But it's dead. It's dead though. I've the period from April is what everybody says. April 1st is where it died. All that stuff. They say that's where the apocalypse happened.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I've sold
my
the last
sales
90
are
days. The last 90 days,
0.2%.
I've sold my years last year.
My sales conversion rate's 0.2%. I'm sorry, I was wrong. Woo.
The question that I want you to leave this thing today is not, it's never about what is eBay doing. It's what are you doing? Have you taken a minute to sit down in your crying closet and go woosah and really take an honest look at what you're doing and how you're reselling and your everything. What the reselling environment is, what the state of the platform is, and because I've been preaching this over and over. If you've noticed that the platform has changed their search algorithm and the search is now dominated by sell-through rate, it's not get on YouTube or whoever and go in somebody's chat and complain, gripe, and moan about the fact that the sell-through rate is king. The thought should cross your mind is, how can I take advantage of this to be ahead of everybody else who's on YouTube crying like some bitch?
You have to be fluid in a reselling business. You can't be static.
There's a lot of painful truth today that a lot of people need to hear that probably won't hear it because they're too scared to come to this channel because they know I'll tell them.
So they can come to my channel on Thursday night. I already have the thumbnail and it's already scheduled. And we're going to talk about what you can do.
They're over watching my channel.
What you can do to make
they're probably watching mine.
Your problem, not eBay's problem. This isn't eBay's problem. If you think eBay has a problem, and every platform does, I'm not delusional. If eBay has such a big problem, walk away. Just walk away. People are wasting so much time. All this time that's being wasted on these videos and this opinion and that opinion and that opinion. While they're doing that, millions of dollars are changing hands from other sellers that are selling stuff because people aren't wanting to do what they need to do to run their business. It's easier for them to whine and complain.
So here's the problem too, I see. So what's the answer that every YouTuber is going to tell you? I've seen them all, and there's one person I know that's resisted so far, but he's teetering on the edge. Josh is teetering on the edge of this one.
Cross-posting.
Cross-posting, cross-list. the answer to everybody tells you is, well, if you're not getting sales on eBay, you need to cross list and put it on other platforms. You need to go from the second largest online platform to some of these smaller ones. And so what's the reason? Well, it's selling better over there. That is terrible advice, folks. The advice that you should be hearing is why are you not getting sales? Fix what the fuck you're doing on eBay and continue on. Figure out that if it's you, eliminate. If you've done everything, if you've gone through it all and it's not your fault, and for whatever reason you've decided eBay hates you and you can prove it to yourself, by all means go cross list and do whatever. I'm cross listing right now. I've sold one item on Mercari and I've sold like 7 on Poshmark.
Anissa, I have mad respect for Daily Refinement as a person. I've met him, but he doesn't have all the answers. He doesn't give good advice 95% of the time. Tech and Sports has done 2-3 videos now. So if you don't want to cross list, I don't cross list. I have a Mercari account, an Etsy account, all of those, but I don't. Hi, Tom. I don't cross list, but I do have items on there. They're different items than what I have on eBay.
Carol says she can barely get out of bed, and I've got this energy. I'm passionate about reselling. I'm passionate about the fact that I love what I do. I love the freedom that it has given me. I don't have a boss. Well, she thinks she's a boss, and she ain't a boss.
I'm calling Joni.
Call her.
Marcia, by the way, Marcia is completely the boss. If she's
you're damn right she is.
Marcia I don't want to be the boss.
But somebody has got to be the voice of reason to wake a lot of these people up and to help them understand. I'm doing this. I'm ranting and raving to help. I care so much about you that I want you to succeed because I love what I do so much. Somebody's got to tell you the fucking truth. Somebody has got to be the different voice out there and not be the poor pitiful me and tell you. And if I've got to be the old grumpy man and get the fuck off my lawn today, I've got to be that guy.
What I don't get, and
I'm
maybe,
getting ready
and
to
it's
shove
not
you off your lawn. It's
not just eBay. It's not just Amazon. It's every platform out there. It's even what I do.
Oh,
if you're bitching that much every single day, why the hell do you keep doing it? That's my biggest complaint.
They're the same people that bitch about fast food workers making $15 an hour.
That's for you, Tom.
What's that?
My Lord. We have a celebrity in our midst. Kevin, what's up, my brother?
I saw that back there, and that's the reason I said screw you, John.
If you want to, here's another great channel that somebody who just truly doesn't give a fuck, and I'm so glad that you're still with us, Kevin, because he had a health scare 6 or 8 months ago. Check out Auto Hillbilly, man. You want to talk about somebody who sells rusty gold?
Is Kevin in the background?
He's in the chat.
How did I miss him? Hey, buddy.
He just showed up.
Kevin.
I see you in there.
Scott.
Kevin and Miss Kitty.
I think you need to start a consulting business. If these people, after all the free information that you have given over and over and over about this stuff, then they need, if they want to stay in this business, they're going to have to pay a consultant to help them get their business going.
I don't know that they want to hear the truth.
That's besides the point. Maybe they will listen maybe they'll listen if they're spending $100 an hour.
Because right now,
here's Scott's consulting business. He's going to tie him. He's going to tie him to a chair and slap him upside the head. What more can you do?
Wait. I consult. Let me get in here. I charge $2,500 to a customer for 3 hours a month.
Okay, that's even better. If
$2,500 an hour, I tell them what I think, and they do the freaking opposite still.
Of course they do.
Month after month for over a year, they've been doing it.
We constantly were paying people, not constantly, but we paid people, that were consultants for our business, on max. If it's another,
it's for you.
Yeah, It's another. Hang on a second.
I got it.
So
I guess they
What
don't
the hell
count.
was that sound?
we can have this. eBay's in the title right now. Amazon sell. It's all resellers. This is not just eBay. You know how many conspiracies got to be out there about Amazon? That Amazon does do some horrible stuff. I'm not going to deny that. But for the most part, if you stay in your lane and do what you're supposed to, they leave you the fuck alone.
But the thing is let's look at this. All the malls in America are dying, right? Some of them are dead, but they're not all dying.
They knocked one of ours down.
The main mall here in the city that I live in, that was built when I was a kid, is still going strong.
The one here,
too.
The one from the 80s here got knocked down.
There's no Nordstrom's anymore. Nordstrom's is now like Gold's Gym or 24-hour fitness or something like that. But here's the thing. Let's just look at a mall and consider it to be eBay or Amazon. You have certain stores that are huge. So Nordstrom's was one of the biggest stores in the mall. And then you have maybe Torrid or Victoria's Secret. Victoria's Secret doesn't need a huge store because their name carries a weight, and they can have a smaller store, and they could be farther away from the entrance, and they're going to get more traffic than Nordstrom's is, which is the one you see when you walk, or it has their own entrance, and the one when you walk in one of the main mall entrances, or Nordstrom's has its own entrance. We all have a store in the mall. How we decide how bright the lights are, what merchandise we're going to put in the window today. Are we going to take our stuff out of the bags and hang it up so that people can see if it's short sleeve, long sleeve, brand new with tags? Or are we going to leave it in the bag that we got it in, take a picture of it and throw it out there somewhere for hopefully somebody will see it and they'll be like, oh, okay, I'll buy this. But I don't really know what it is other than it's yellow or blue or pink, or it's in this bag and it's got a tag on it. So how you run your store in the rules of the mall, because the mall has rules, and you had to sign a paper when you rented that spot in the mall, is all on you. If you're going to have all mall brand clothes from 25 different mall brands, then you're going to get mall brand people shopping in your store, and they're going to offer you 50 to 80% off on your items because that's what they're worth.
You know, people that are having problems following the rules of eBay, Amazon, any of them, did they follow the rules when they were employed?
No.
That's
because
why
if they didn't, that's the reason they're trying to hustle goods, because somebody got tired of their crap and sent them on. I mean, there's rules that you have to do when you're employed, and they might be stupid rules, but if you don't like it, there's the frickin' door. Because I had to tell a bunch of people that during my working career. You know, that's the way we do things around here. If you don't like it.
You know how many people I fired in my life?
How many?
I'm surprised I didn't
25
years, more often.
25 years in fast food restaurants. You know how many people I fired?
How many?
One a day.
So actually, I was one of those.
Every one of them fired themselves for their poor performance. And that's what's happening, folks. Until you take it.
I was one of those people.
I've been a district manager. I've been everything you can be in a fast food restaurant, and I lost a lot of employees, but not one of them. Okay, so there was one. I did fire one. I lie. I fired one. When your brother robs my fucking, puts a gun in my head and robs me, you're not gonna work for me no goddamn more. I fired his ass because his brother robbed me. That's the only one who I, and I don't care.
By association.
I don't care if your uncle is my boss. Go talk to him. I fired your ass. But thank God that guy's dead, by the way.
So
the one who robbed me, not the employee, but the one who robbed me died a few days later. But is right now on eBay. eBay is not eliminating you. They're not doing anything to your poor performance and lack of ability to understand marketplace. You're a business owner, folks. There's nobody in your business doing the high level thinking. You know, your job
Excuse me.
Your job as a reseller is not to just go thrifting, you know, and every now and then list something.
I think we've hit on something here. A lot of us, not me, not you, not everybody on this panel, most of the people in the chat, but are looking at eBay as the same way we look at a job as an employee. And you can't. I was a horrible employee, the worst.
Yeah. And
but as a business owner, I can't be that way.
You've got to. You're a business owner, and it is a complete for most people, and that's where I think a lot of the disconnect is that this is the first time most people have had any business where they're the owner. You know, everybody's working a business or working, but it's a different level of responsibility that most people have been taught their entire life that they're not responsible for anything. You know, to go collect a check from the government if you done whatever, there's no responsibility.
How many of you guys eat dairy products every day? Some form of a dairy product. I was raised on a working dairy. If we didn't take care of the animals, they were dead, or they didn't produce well, or they got sick. We raised our own feed. No, we bought grain, but we raised our own corn for silage. We all of that. So you guys want to work your asses off? Go work on a farm. Go have a farm. That's part of where my name came from. I don't live on the farm anymore. We sold the property. But the fact of the matter is that that's a game that there's no effing around in.
So how many of you?
I grew up on a produce farm, by the way.
How many of you resellers growing up in your life? You got your team came in 5th. You got a participation trophy, right? And you were happy with it. Ooh, look, we got a trophy. Let's go have a pizza party. You come in 5th or 6th on eBay in your category or whatever. You're getting crushed because you can't compete. You're taught that mediocre is okay. You're taught all these terrible things, and it's not your responsibility. Look, you had a good team. Let's go have pizza with your friends. And I'm telling you right now,
that happened to me once in my life, and I won't talk about the circumstances around it.
Well, when I was a kid, go ahead. Sorry.
I got an award, and I don't think I deserved it. You know, that still eats on me to this day, and that happened when I was in high school. I still can't. I can't get over that.
If as a kid, if we got away from the dinosaurs without being eaten, our trophy was we got to live another day. You know, that's for you, Lag.
I used to say that. The last time I heard that, I fell off my dinosaur and broke my stone underwear.
Yeah,
people would laugh.
But you know, probably
Stone underwear.
You know, I grew up in a family business. I remember sitting at the kitchen table and listening to my dad and my mom when I was like 13 years old, talking about, okay, we need to go out and we got to get some checks from these realtors or these lawyers at closing and whatnot this week that haven't paid. You know, about, you know, keeping that money in and watching cash flow. You know, these guys, when they go out because my dad had a land surveying company, when they go out on a trip, they need to plan their route so they're not using gas, because this was also when gas was at a shortage.
Did y'all have electricity in the house at that point?
Yes, we did, asshole.
What about a piano?
I had 2. I had one in the living room and one in the basement.
How about a violin?
I played the piano and the trumpet. That's it.
Running water.
But you know, it seems like and I'm not dissing your show, Scott, but every week you've got a new group of people bitching because they're not selling anything, or they've they got suspended from somebody or something like that.
Listen.
Well, don't start, Todd. Don't start. It just seems like people are not listening. You know.
You got to hear it 5 or 6 times before it comes through. So I'm probably on rant number how many millions by now?
It's no telling.
Listen, Dusty and I used to get into it all the time behind the scenes. And he always said I was thinking too big. I had grandiose ideas, but everything I did was as a business owner and not an employee. Too many times in this business, we take it as a job and not a business. We go buy something, we list it, and we try and sell it. We don't look at it as a business. And Scott has been with me for many years through it all. Scott was a bigger seller than me when I met Scott. And he's watched this, and I've always done it from a management perspective. Whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent, I've always tried to make decisions to improve my business. And it's never been about me.
But we also had different perspectives, and there's nothing wrong with, because I'm where I wanted to be, and John is where he wanted to be. Too many people don't have that thought, John. They don't have the wherewithal to look at it and the vision to see what it takes to get you where you are. They're not doing any planning. They're just out. And I'm guilty of that with other things. I've been terrible about social media, my YouTube, and I've decided to you notice I put a couple videos out the last few days. I'm consciously taking time and scheduling my day to do more content and be more intentional about this side of the business, because I don't make much money on YouTube, and I want to change that to where for the time I put in it, it needs to contribute more, or it needs to go away. I need to make that decision, so I'm going to evaluate that over the next 4 to 5 months.
Well, sure, because what we put in is what is usually what we're going to get out. But you have to put in good stuff.
Yep.
Get the good stuff out. And so for me, I live in one of the best areas of the United States to source. I'm sorry, I've been to other areas. I've looked around. I watch people. I have friends in Texas and Florida and Maine and all over. I see. So I have.
It's every area is different, though. Wherever where I can shake you up and throw you up on the map, and wherever you land is where you had to. You would figure out what was there.
I would.
So I'm not gonna.
I'm not picking on anybody. What I was trying to get to is somebody in Ohio may only be finding, out in the sticks, wherever you want to go. I don't even need to pick anybody.
There's some good stuff in Ohio now.
There is.
Yeah.
So some people will say, well,
I'm in Ohio.
I can't find the same stuff as you can.
That's all that matters.
That could very well be true, but I call bullshit on it, because there's people everywhere. I mostly only source at estate sales. So if you don't want to get in your car and drive 45 minutes or an hour, and you don't want to look at the pictures, and you don't want to source online, which you can source online too at estate sales. There's a lot of estate sales that source online. If you don't want to do the work and you want to continue going to the bins or garage sales, you can find some great stuff at all of these places. Anywhere you are, there's something that may not be as plentiful as it is here in my area, because last weekend, I'm telling you, there was probably 50 plus estate sales over all the different platforms.
Where the hell are you, Florida?
I live in Vancouver, Washington, but it's the Portland, Oregon. It's that
frick you doing letting a liberal on the show, Scott?
whole hub.
They're selling all their crap so they can pay their taxes.
Why are you letting a liberal on the show, Scott?
Just because I live somewhere doesn't mean I'm that.
That's correct.
You know what? You know what happens when you make assumptions, John?
If she grew up on a dairy farm, she knows what it is to work. Because my family was in agriculture, farming. And I only worked during the summertime because I was out of school and I lived 3 hours away. That's some hard ass work. When you start baling hay and that kind of stuff, it's hard. So she knows what it is. She knows what it is to work.
I raised two kids by myself. One of them's in the process of getting his master's degree at 30. Just turned 32.
My kid works at McDonald's.
He's a kid.
Who's
that-
Noel?
It's McDonald's.
Oh, okay.
You know, fast food isn't necessarily the easiest job that everybody thinks it is, right, Scott?
It was meant to
No.
be a joke, but
I know.
I've been in there. I've been in there as a customer and felt like throwing shit on people that standing up there talking to these little kids.
oh, it's horrible. Yeah, I know.
You know, it's like, what the hell is your problem? You
Well-
know. And that goes back to something I've always said. Before you can graduate with a bachelor's degree, you should have to do 6 months of some kind of customer service at a fast food place, at a sit down restaurant, at a store. They should have to do 6 months. It don't matter if you get your degree in Venetian arts. You still have to do it before you get your degree, because these people come out and they just don't understand what's going on in the real world.
I can't believe it's really only 9:05. I feel like I've ran it for like an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours.
Well, do we want to talk about where I was last week or no?
Go,
No.
Okay.
go, John. It's your birthday.
I had
Yes,
I went to Alibaba event in Las Vegas. Met the president of the entire corporation, who actually spoke pretty good English. It was a sales pitch, but the one thing you have to understand is AI is going to be big in the next few years. These big companies are getting heavily into AI.
Especially the Chinese.
If you can look it up, I know a lot of people here do reselling, and I've had people say, well, how did you get into what you're doing? Alibaba is making it very easy. You type it into an AI search engine, and they are going to show it to you by manufacturer in China. This is rolling out in the next 6 months. The stuff that they're coming out with is just amazing when it comes to technology.
And why is that?
What's that?
Why is that? And I'm not criticizing what you're saying. I'm just saying, why is the Chinese
Because they've stolen everything from us.
kind of stuff?
Because they're really good at stealing our damn.
No, I don't believe that, Scott. I believe we're lazy.
No, if you, John, if you look at espionage,
Because-
business espionage is huge.
It is.
No, I understand espionage is huge. What I'm saying is we're lazy as a people, as a whole. We have an idea, right? But they work the idea. Where we go, oh, we got this great idea, pay me. The Chinese go, oh, that was a great idea. Let me use it to my advantage.
Let me buy one of your things that you made and tear it apart, and we're going to make it better, cheaper, stronger, faster.
You missed the point though, John. They don't just. They would be just like us. They don't do that. Big Brother stands above them and says, "If you don't fucking do this, we're going to kill your family. We're going to put your kids back in the fucking mines." There is a level of.
Well, that was very interesting. That part was very interesting about this. Every word was approved by somebody before it was spoke on stage.
You bet it was.
These guys, the president memorized his opening 30-minute speech, word for word. It was so rehearsed, so refined. You could tell. And when an American got up there, they told the Chinese one thing, and they got up there on stage and said something totally different. I don't know that Alibaba will be back to Vegas.
I was watching a documentary. Oh, I have so much crap that comes in my head and it never leaves. But I was watching a documentary on China and AI last week, and the thing is right now they're behind the U.S. and as far as the technology, but they're set to catch up to us by 2027, I think.
China
and surpass us. I'm telling you what, I dropped my phone the other day because I was standing on a ladder taking a picture and I dropped. And no, I don't use a camera to take my pictures. Maybe I should. Anyway, so the screen cracked. So I had to go get a new screen because it quit working. I had to go get a whole new phone. and I need to replace the screen on that one. If you lived in China and that happened to you, you'd be screwed. Everything there is facial recognition. Everything there is on your phone. And everything there is about public shaming. If you jaywalk, they're going to put your name on a thing. They're going to public shame you. If you have a criminal record or you do things you're not supposed to do, you don't get allowed in certain stores. You don't get allowed to travel. You don't get allowed to do anything. That's where AI is going.
Too.
Yeah, how many? So even look, John, your guys rehearsed. Look back through China over the last 10 years. How many of their business owners have disappeared? Look at the Chinese business owners who said or did the wrong thing and are just sort of AWOL.
I mean, it's a totally different. Their setup is totally different than ours. Totally different.
The problem with China, though, do some research on China. The problem with China is their history is going to bite them in the ass. They are a failing society. You know, whether you want to believe it or not, go do some reading to make sure I'm telling you correctly. The one China policy where they threw away all the girls and only want the guys. Their men to women ratios are all screwed up. They also only. What's the problem with having one kid? Two people have one kid, you don't replace. You're not replacing yourself. So the population, if they all had one kid, the population gets cut in half. It is in the next, I think it's 15 or 20 years, the average age in China is going to be north of 65. I mean, they're going to be a really old population, and there's nobody there to take care of them and do these things. And so China can have their hay or do whatever. There's coming a time in the next few years. Japan's got the same problem. Look into Japan and how much, if you'll commit to living in Japan, young people for so long, Japan will pay you to come live there. Yes. Japan has no young people.
Because South Korea and Japan, and probably Singapore and the other countries like that, these kids are all about the branded goods and the nightlife and the BMWs. They're not interested in having kids. They're not interested in getting married. They're just interested in having a good time. And like Scott said, their populations are dropping to the point that these governments are getting concerned about getting it. So apparently, it's a lot easier to get into Japan now and become a resident than it used to be, because it was in the 1960s Americans couldn't live, foreigners couldn't live in Japan. They could
correct
visit, but they could not live there. And now it's gotten to the point, like he said, South Korea is paying American kids so if you're getting kids that's going to university soon, they will, if you've got good grades, they will pay you to come to South Korea and go to their top university, pay all your tuition, pay you to fly back and forth one time a year, and give you pocket money just to get people in the country, and also to show that they have a good educational system over there. But it's going to fall, and it's going to affect everybody, because who makes everything that everybody uses? China.
And this shows
what I can tell you from my takeaway from all of this, and I had a lot of interactions with a lot of people. My takeaway is very simple. If you don't have a basic understanding of AI or some aspect of knowledge base behind it, you are going to fall quickly behind in all things. Amazon now has beta testing of AI listing builders. I don't know if anybody has access to them or seen them. They suck right now, but
it's just the beginning. Now they will get better.
It's the start where you put in a title and a picture and it writes a description.
Yeah, this is. I'm telling you, I sell anything. This is what my phone just beat. That was it.
What is that?
It's an Anastasia and all. Picked it up. Listed it 2 days ago. It $52 shipped. When it
And you sold it in 2 days? Damn, you're good.
in 2
I wish
days.
I could be as good as you.
Let's make sure I did get the shipping. I don't want to tell you wrong. Yeah, it's $39.88 plus $11.95 shipping. So
Did you
$52.
did you enjoy the conference, John? Did you come away with a bunch of knowledge?
No,
You just
no,
went out
I
there
didn't
and
think I
drank and
would.
played cards.
I went because of the people that were going to be there.
Right.
I went strictly for the networking. I was blown away by the technology that they had and that they were implementing and that they were talking about. But I went knowing that there was nothing that I was going to offer. I figured it was a huge sales pitch, and it turned out to be just that. One room had 10 of the top manufacturers from China in the room. Well, guess what? If that's only 10 people selling product there, guess everybody's looking at the same freaking products. I was like, I'm not going to be involved in that. Those markets are all going to be oversaturated.
I'm going to see what I promoted it at. Hold on.
This was just, it was very informative, and I got to meet a lot of people I got to see John Lawson. I don't know how many people know John Lawson from Atlanta.
John's a good dude.
I got to spend an hour with John. I got to spend time with a lot of the people that you see in Facebook that are higher level up. And I'm in a group of $1 million sellers, and they had an event there the day before Alibaba. So I went to that as well. It turned out to be a big networking thing for me more than anything else. I got to see Tim Jordan.
Yeah, well, if I want to see Tim Jordan, if he's at home, I'll drive down the street.
Somebody sent me a present.
I love it.
Well, I'm gonna be grumpy old bastard too then, because I'm
no promoted. So folks, that sold in 2 days. No promoted. I promoted it, but they didn't. It didn't sell from a promoted list.
Oh my God, Scott! You promote?
What?
Does that help? And I'm being sarcastic as hell. Does that help your sales?
Thanks, Tamara.
You've only been saying that for 3 weeks now, and people.
I don't
3
promote.
weeks.
I don't promote
You've been saying it
anything
since it began.
for 3 weeks out.
Wait. Dusty told everybody that he updated the promoted listings every day.
That's John. You can stop doing that. They've eliminated that with AI.
Yeah, that's a waste of time.
I still do it every day. I don't care. I do it because every day that I know that it's done, I think about Dusty. So I do it for a memory thing more than anything. But
there you go.
When he showed that to me, I said, "You're full of shit, dude." And we sat down and we actually looked at it on my account. And he was right. I did it twice a day. And sales went up.
So Tamara Lynn is asking, does anyone use the TerraPeak sourcing insights? And I'm going to tell you, I use my sourcing insights.
I'm telling you right now, when I tell y'all I sell, I'm like, no, I sell anything. So an Anastasia doll and a freaking.
Oh, see, you saw that Bolo on Shed Flips.
What are you talking about?
Isn't that a dog costume blanket?
Yeah. I don't watch.
I guarantee he didn't get that from Lonnie.
I didn't get it from. Whenever I bought all the boxes at the Bed Bath & Beyond clothing,
yeah.
They had all these for $2. So
my wife sold a lot of that kind of stuff, not necessarily that brand, but we
bought 25 of them.
Weren't selling.
This one went for. It's on sale. It went for 16 plus shipping.
That's not
bad. People love their dogs. If you can find good dog products,
people love their dogs and their cats. Well, people just love their pets. Period. Doesn't matter what they are.
They'll treat their dogs better than their human children.
Yeah. I heard Harlan loves cat. There you go.
Certain kind. I sold a microphone. Does that count?
I've seen if he's still listening.
I picked this up because it said Audio Technica on it. I didn't know what
I
it was
wonder
worth.
what
I
I
sold it
sold
for
today.
$30. But
I've
it
sold
is-
one item for $170 some today. I'm good.
takes two AA batteries. This microphone.
Audio Technica
It's
is.
cool.
I said that I saw they set of headphones. I showed them to you, but they went out yesterday.
Yeah.
So the headphones were kind of dried out. They weren't flaky, but they looked like how headphones get. I was going to just throw them on the auction. I'm like, they're Audio Technica. Let me look them up. $32 plus shipping.
You don't have to know. You don't have to know a lot.
But bad earpieces still sell.
I knew the name was good. So this goes to a very specific wireless system. So I knew somebody would eventually want this damn thing.
How
So $30.
many of you people here, chat included, would walk into an estate sale and see an old computer with a CRT monitor and pick that CRT monitor up?
Immediately.
And why is that,
No way in
Steve?
hell.
Because I love old computers, but they sell.
$2,000, $3,000, $4,000 for a CRT monitor. Look up the solds right now.
Go
I
for
have
it.
Which
Not me.
CRT though?
Just type in CRT computer monitor.
It
You
would have
guys
to be
are-
like a.
I'm sorry, I'm losing my fucking mind. Do you know what kind of computers that they use to run the majority of the elevators in the United States of America?
A DOS-based system.
Yes.
Yeah, it's still DOS based. When I worked at the
Those are the headphones. See how they
when I worked at
Oh
the
yeah,
box
for
factory.
sure, Scott.
When I worked
That
at
was
the
a
box
broad
factory,
what they sold for.
Dawn knows. Hi, Dawn. I saw you earlier. I didn't say hi. If you guys, I went to New York 2 years ago to help my friend Janet clean out a property that they bought and they're now living in. And the guy the son that lived in the trailer was a computer guru. And I was crawling around on my hands and knees in that office getting stuff. Look up dot matrix printers, look up dot matrix paper, look up the cords that go to those computers. And Jan, my friend, is in IT. She works in IT in one of the major hospital systems in Rochester. And she told me I was crazy. Dawn, didn't you and Mary come and buy a bunch of stuff from her? And then I was like, just because you work in IT doesn't mean that you know everything there is to know about computers. How do I know this stuff? Because I have a photographic memory and it's painful and I can't forget it. But if you're not willing to look at something that's sitting there that you can pick up for $2 or $3 and you might have to have a little effort, I'll pack something like that up for a $2,300 sale every freaking day.
I do have to say, when you're picking up a CRT monitor, make sure to test that thing because
For sure.
the capacitors inside get old and old computers. So make sure, because I have two down in the basement right now, but they make poppy noises, and I don't want to.
I've got a friend that's got a machine shop down in Columbia, and he runs all these $50,000 lathes off of free original IBM computers and all that kind of stuff,
You should see my
because
basement.
he can duplicate the software because of his license he had when he bought it. But if he was to buy the new software to run on the new computers, it's like $150 a pop per computer. And now with the 3D modeling going on, people can send him a widget, and within 2 days it's in production on his machines.
Yep.
Because
when I was working at the box factory, our systems were based on dummy terminals still. They had to upgrade the system, and they went with a Windows 7 based thing. Guess what they're still using? Windows 7 based, because it's so expensive to upgrade those computers. There's still call for that stuff out there.
Oh,
if you find the right stuff.
So here's the
people
difference.
walk past it. What you got there, Beard?
Here's the difference between eBay and Amazon. So you wouldn't sell these for $4 or $5 on eBay. It is just a microphone one, the little 3-prong.
Uh-huh.
I got what 40 or 50 of these for $7 at a church sale. A 2-pack went for $13 on Amazon. Amazon is built to sell this kind of stuff. I've sold I don't know, I sold 10 or 12 of these 2-packs. Easy in, easy. Amazon, without having to list it, all I had to do was put the quantity and the price and forget about it. Understand your market. That's another thing, you resellers. Don't fall in love with one marketplace. You've got to have two. I'm telling you right now, because you want to be able to buy more stuff. Certain stuff sells better on different platforms. Anastasia was not on Amazon. I looked and looked and looked, couldn't find her. She sold in she sold in 2 days on eBay.
I'm running across that more and more where certain products aren't on Amazon anymore. And it's because it's very difficult to make a new listing, especially if you're not the brand owner now. Every time I try to make a new listing for something, I get a warning that I'm not the brand owner.
Well, everything I've listed on Amazon lately is like new. Because if I do new, I mean new. It's still got all the packaging. It's still on it.
I would list that as new, but
Tom, you're in excellent vintage condition.
You can't.
Shit.
You've got to be a license. You've got to be a license or whatever you want to call it. John can tell you.
You have to be able to cover the warranty that the company gives,
you've got
which
to be
I would do anyway.
You got to be a dealer for the company.
John,
but I can do it as like new and sell it all freaking day long.
If you had to put a grade on Tom, he'd be fair condition at best.
Shut up. Let me
So what you're saying, Tom, is you're gated in that if it's new.
Everybody's gated in it.
Yeah,
unless you
but
do
if it's you,
like
yeah.
me.
So in that situation, you're right. You got to do like new.
Yeah. Since you make fun of my age, Scott, I'm on my little subtitle on my name down there. I have been called, including once while I've been on the show, people wanting information about my Medicare Part A and Part B and D and whatever.
That's not.
Shut up. John probably gets them too, unless he has somebody answering his phone. But and Todd too. Noelle's she's got 40 years before she'll start getting those phone calls.
I'm 56.
Are you really? You don't
really
look
am.
it.
I
Anyway,
have a 37-year-old son and a 32-year-old son.
Beard looks like he should be already getting the calls, but that's beside the point. Anyway, they call relentless, and it's time for them to start calling because you have to have all this in place by the first of the year. I sent an email to my congressman this morning saying, since y'all have plenty of time since y'all ain't getting anything else done up there, how about do something about all these phone calls about Medicare? And because it is like 10 I had to go buy I went and bought a new set of phones. Because I've blocked so many calls that I've outrun. Let's see, another phone system that's still hooked up.
That's Todd's dog, by the way.
A call blocker that's got 1,500 numbers blocked on it.
It's like the set of Hee-Haw. We had a dog on the set.
Yeah.
Just always there being lazy.
It's just outrageous. And you people are laughing in the chat that this old man is just fussing about phone calls about Medicare. Wait till you can't do anything at home because the damn phone rings all the freaking time.
Roman.
I finally got old enough to get the AARP mailings. So
I mean, it's a true flipping goodies. If you want to,
I've never heard a dog purr before.
I can't find anything in my area.
That's snoring.
The different platforms have different strengths. You can double the amount of stuff you're able to sell if you have different platforms. Because right now I would tell you doing retail arbitrage is still it's much harder than it used to be, but it's still viable on Amazon. But you look at the prices on eBay, and you don't get enough money on eBay to do retail arbitrage on eBay is tough. There are some exceptions. Don't get me wrong, but you open yourself up to a different possibility, a different world of products if you have multiple platforms. It just does.
I'm also getting old enough that Wilford Brimley is now relevant to me.
Well, and it goes back to, I've sold several $50 bike seats until I bought these at an auction at a bike. They were closing out a bike store. I did not think that saddles for you bikers in the audience were like $50, and that's kind of cheap compared to some of them.
Oh yeah.
I've sold a lot of bike seats. Yeah.
And so it's a case where, like people they're spending $3,000 on a bicycle, they're going to go to Amazon instead of eBay because they know they'll get it quick.
See, and a lot of people too. Josh talks about it a little bit. Everybody in his chats really says, "I really want to see what eBay's third quarter numbers are going to look like."
I don't care.
I
So
don't
what
care.
what are you going to do on the third quarter if their numbers come back and they're just as strong? Then all those people are going to have a collective heart attack.
I think
Just because you assume because it's not working for you, it's not working for anyone.
How about the millions of sellers out there that have nothing to do with
Social
YouTube
media and all they do is just sell. Yeah, there's somebody else in my neighborhood that sells on eBay, and I've never met him. There's another Amazon seller in here too.
Well, you need to go put your business card on everybody's front door.
So 7 or 8 years ago, when I first started,
I don't want to talk
however
about
long, there was no other eBay sellers in my town when I first started. Maybe there was one, but I never saw. Now, holy Lord, there's every day I go to the post office. There's piles of eBay stuff in there, but they're not.
I
selling
have
the same
a
thing I
video.
am,
It's
so I
called
don't
"This
care.
Is My Bolo," and it's about road and track calendars. And I stopped at an estate sale. It was the last 2 hours of the estate sale, and it was $20 fill a bag. And they had these calendars were huge, huge. I found one on eBay. I couldn't find any out there anywhere. You had to work for Road and Track, or you had to work for a high-end dealership or maintenance place to get these calendars. And I saw them and I was like, how are these still sitting here? I already knew five resellers that had been through there. And I said, I said, Joanna, she's the owner. I said, can I have all of these for $20? There was, I can't remember how, there was 21 of them. She said, sure. Overnight, I sold 3 of them and I listed them for $90 some. And then 2 weeks later, the guy came back and said, can I have this one, this one, this one, and this one for $250 plus shipping? I said, absolutely. Now, I still have some sitting there that I haven't sold, but as I was walking into the sale, somebody was walking out that was one of my subscribers. She goes, there's nothing in there left to buy. And I said, oh, I can find something.
I made that short the other day. I was kind of walking down the hill real fast because there was something I wanted first day in the estate sale, and the guy goes, I never even known him. He didn't know me from Adam's house guy. Oh, you can slow down. There's nothing there. That house is pretty empty. There's nothing there. They had that GE tape. Had the GE tape still sealed in the package for $7. I ended up spending like almost $200 at that estate sale. Okay,
there's another reseller.
There's
another reseller in my area who's all big into video games and stuff like that. And he went to a yard sale just before I did. And every time that happens, I'm on the low end. I don't make out. However, this time, and he's into video games, I found issue number 1 through, I think, 200 of Nintendo Power. Issue number 1 I sold for over $400. I found several video game systems, and I found a whole lot of shit that he usually normally gets. But you just had to dig. He's looking superficially on the top of things. And I found it wasn't hard to find, but he didn't look. Just because there was another reseller there doesn't mean I can't make money.
I mean, really, Josh started up a little bit of a hornet's nest between him and Talk About with the mention of the word an NDA. And it is so amazing to me how many people had decided that if eBay is so hateful and so bad and so terrible, why are you helping them by selling on their platform? Why don't you go do your own thing?
Exactly.
If they're so fucking, if you want a company to get the opinion of its sellers on its platform, and they need to be able to talk freely with a seller, they need some assurances that, if they're planning to do something and they want your opinion of someone who's got their pulse on the finger of the business, that it's not going to be, something. If we're working on Project A and we need some feedback about Project A, but we need you not to tell people about it, and NDA just protects them.
It's industry standard.
I mean, that just shows you how many people have no business sense, no business.
I bet you Grumpy signed a whole lot of NDAs.
Casey did that. Casey makes videos to get people excited.
Yeah.
I didn't even watch his video because I'm like, oh my God.
No.
Was he against the NDA?
The article that Ina put out was taken way out of context by a lot of people, even by you, Josh. Sorry.
Anything that she writes, you better take it with a grain of salt because eBay has been so hard.
She hates eBay.
Anything that anybody writes should be taken with a grain of salt. But nowhere in there did it state 100% that all of these people before that had signed NDAs were getting free trips and free pizza and shit like that. Stuff has happened. Stuff has happened in every company. And if we aren't smart enough to figure that out and know that, yes, there's always going to be somebody that gets something that somebody else doesn't. There's always somebody that's going to break the rule and not get their hand slapped. We see that all the time with certain people's listings taken down and certain people's not. But when you are going to sit on a platform and you have 200 or 300 people in your live, and you, me, Josh, anybody cannot tell the story straight and are so busy with all of the comments that you can't get to the comments for people commenting on it, that's when it becomes an issue for me, because it causes paranoia and stupid people start saying stupid stuff. And yes, I said that.
You got somebody like Anna who has been treated horrible, and they, the people who did her wrong got their, didn't they go to prison?
They didn't. Devin Nunes is still out there. Nothing happened to him. He got a nice little $1 million buy. See you later. Get the hell out of here.
The people who actually did the terrible stuff, actually, but even before that, she's been negative and hated eBay. So at some point, her business and her readership is stirring up trouble about eBay.
It always has. How old is e-commerce Bites? It was around in the 90s, I believe, late 90s.
They've been around for a while.
But it's been, and I'm not saying anything bad about Ina or her husband, but it's been that way from the entire time. It wouldn't have survived as a blog had it not been negative. It's just the way things work.
Devin, the Devin that was
Devin Winnig is what she meant. I believe.
She meant Devin Winnig.
Yes, sorry,
Scott. I think Lag is confused. Lag in an NDA is non-disclosure agreement, not no dumbasses allowed. That's what you had to sign to get onto my show.
I'm kind of out of the loop on all this stuff, but I did see a little bit of Josh's video talking about the NDA, and I can tell you that when I signed up to do the Walmart stuff, they made me sign an NDA. When I did signed up to do a reality show many years ago that I never got on, I had to sign an NDA. It wasn't because they were it's only because it protects their ass. That's the whole thing behind an NDA.
Yeah, and if you work for a computer repair business, you're probably going to have to supply an NDA because you could come in contact with proprietary information.
So
when I worked at the box factory,
it's not.
When I worked for the box factory, I had to say,
are you willing to sign an NDA just because?
Sure, it is.
No,
sure it is.
Go fuck yourself. That's what I say. Sorry.
Hey, Noel, stop.
But if you're truly
hold on. I don't know you, Noel, but for you to tell me to go fuck myself.
Steve.
All right, you better not have, because that would just be
absolutely not. I didn't mean that to you.
I don't get angry.
I meant to the industry.
She was talking about eBay in general.
I don't have a problem with eBay having people sign NDAs if they want to talk. It's to protect industry standards. That's all it is. Because it has nothing to do with what Josh can tell you.
Because can you imagine if eBay is doing research on their search engine and they want more feedback about what they think bigger sellers or sellers in general think are relevant to search and what could help the search to find products, and if for somebody to come out and go, eBay just contacted me, and this is what they're working on in search. They've got to be able
That's
to.
what it's. That's all it's
I
protecting.
agree for something like that. 100%. I'm not.
That's
stupid.
all it's protecting.
Yeah,
I totally understand that. But if you're just going to have a conversation because you're upset about this or the way this is going and that's going,
I guarantee.
I didn't have to sign an NDA when I went to eBay in Portland, the headquarters, and I talked to the vice presidents in person, face to face. What I'm saying is, when we went to eBay Open and we had these conversations and they told us stuff, did we sign an NDA, Scott?
Well,
that's
eBay Open is a public event.
If you're getting into something technical that they don't want everybody in the world for you to talk to, you're doing some beta testing or that kind of stuff, or you are working with because the mill that I worked in, the rolling mill, the welding, we made pipeline for the gas and oil industry. You couldn't have a camera in there. You get fired in a hot freaking second if you took your phone out. I don't know how many people get walked out of there because it was proprietary information. So I don't have a problem with NDAs, but
even if you're having problems, and they want to talk to you about search, I can see the NDA because they want to feel free to tell you something without any ramification. You know what I mean?
Well, I think what's going on here is they want Josh and Kevin's opinions on how to improve this thing. But if they use those opinions, that's the reason for the NDA. You see what I'm saying? Because then it'll affect them if Josh comes out and says, hey, this is the exact thing we spoke of. Now, Josh can speak about the meetings and the directions they're going. That's not covered by the NDA.
I'll be back in a little bit.
Yeah, it's just my whole point of that is it is an acceptable practice in business.
It happens every single day.
You're dealing with proprietary information in large corporations that are seeking information or any of that kind of stuff. But it's just, to my whole point about this whole show is there's so many people who have never been in business, don't have a clue. Their experience, before they go to the bins, they could be the person asking you, do you want fries to go with that?
Sure.
And they're ranting and raving in these chats like there's some, they're going to make a YouTube channel and make like there's some kind of authority. And it was a big to do about nothing. Is really what it was. I mean, it truly.
Steve, by the way, I would never say that to you. I have mad respect for you. So it came out at the wrong time.
The way it came out.
I'm so sorry.
I apologize for getting angry.
Understand that.
I don't get angry often, but boy, that would piss me off.
But I think people get too absorbed in all this other bullshit.
I'll be back in a little bit.
Instead of focusing on what their job is, and their job is to source products, list products, sell products, ship product, and start all over again with all the other little nuances that you have to put in there, promoted listings and all that kind of stuff. But that's the thing about it is, and
yeah, Josh makes a great point. Remember, Riley Roots recorded a conversation and played it. Different states have different laws. They want to make sure, what happens, you show eBay in a negative light because it's very easy to rail against the bad guy who is the big publicly traded company versus, me, the little bitty reseller they're trying to squash like a bug. You can portray that so negatively and it gets picked up by news media. Even something that's a simple conversation can get railroaded. And so they're, it's just protection. It's just,
I've signed a lot of NDAs in my lifetime. I'm sure you did in the restaurant business. You have to. You don't even know you're signing them. It's just part of the paperwork. When I worked for the box factory, I wasn't allowed to take video, or even though we were working on machines from the 1960s. It's just to protect proprietary information.
Hey, that was good for you to know when you threw the wrong shit in there and there was nobody videoing you. So that was good.
Right.
Listen.
I couldn't talk about the machines. I couldn't,
I have to sign one next week when I go to. I have a meeting with a vendor that I've done business with for 6 years. We're friends. I have to sign an NDA before I enter his 22-story glass building in Philadelphia. I will have to sign an NDA. And I also have to sign, and also included in the NDA is a no-compete clause.
I agree. Josh says NDA is a big old nothing burger. It is.
It is.
In fact, they're not even really that
with
enforceable in court.
I'm going to disagree with that.
With what?
With that it's a big old burger.
It is.
It is, actually is, but it's been
They're
good
not even really enforceable in court.
It's been good for views and stirring up controversy. You know, that's what gets views on YouTube, is controversy and that kind of stuff. And you poke the bear when you got people who can't think for themselves, and you've got, that's one thing I love about this show is the audience is generally calls bullshit on most things. A lot of the same people are in here, and I appreciate you guys hanging out with us every Wednesday. I would consider most of you guys very atypical of the common reseller. Y'all just put up with me ranting and raving. Hopefully I remind you, as I say a lot of these things, I remind myself the same thing. The one thing I tell myself every day is I have to protect my positive attitude. I have to protect my outlook on business, my outlook on, because it is not easy to deal with that customer that's angry for whatever. It is not easy to deal with a problem, with sales that are dying and trying to figure out what the problem is. It is not easy to be out here working by yourself all the time. It is not easy to be, I had 86 to ship Monday. Hell, I got 86 after getting up at 5 o'clock to do the auction to ship 86. What keeps you going? You've got to keep your frame of mind and that positive focus on the goal. Why you do this? It's much easier to do this with the gratitude that you've got to have. That I'm very thankful that I'm allowed to. If we were still in the brick and mortar world, none of us would be doing this for the most part. Brick and mortar is very expensive. Don't get me wrong. I cherish the fact that I can sell a bunch of my crap on the internet for 30%.
I would suggest that if anybody out there wants to have a brick and mortar store, I want you to go over to Lindy Glenn's channel right now and watch the last 3 or 4 videos that she's put out, and then tell me you still want a brick and mortar store.
Oh yeah,
it's not good.
But it's, through all this, through all the headaches and all the troubles, you got to ask yourself at the end of the day, is it worth it? Does it? What are you getting out of this business? Sometimes the answer is no. First of all, you better love it, because it is a business and it is a grind. And but if you don't know where you're going, how do you ever evaluate your results? And yeah,
anytime
Lindsay is taking a beating. It's terrible.
Anytime my boys from Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe will be contacting you because you signed a non-disclosure agreement about my acquisition of eBay, and you just disclosed it to everybody in this group and to Lag.
What?
He said Lag. Tom secretly owns, Tom owns eBay secretly.
He figured that out in his mama's basement. Damn.
Yeah, he's getting good.
That's some serious detective there.
If you're going to have your own business, I don't care what. If it's car washing, you're driving around washing people's cars, there's shit you're going to have to put up with.
There's nothing that's perfect. I'm telling you. No, I try to make that point in the last few videos. There's no platform that's perfect. They've all got issues. They've all got problems. As long as I'm tell you the secret and why they all have problems, and why everything in your life is going to happen. As long as there are people involved, there's always going to be issues. We are fallen creatures from original sin, whether you believe it or not. And this is a fallen world, a bunch of fallen creatures, and we're at one point or another, we are all fall short of the glory. And you are dealing with that constantly.
When you're dealing with people, back in the day when I was working, before I retired and I was still active in the land surveying industry, we had a client come in. They had been battling on this estate for 7 years and could not get this one parcel of land settled because it was supposed to be divided amongst the family. So it got to the point that the probate judge said, okay, you people will get this thing straightened out or I'm going to order it to be sold. So it was like a 100-acre tract. We divided it up 7 ways. We kept moving lines around property lines around because certain people wanted this house site and blah, 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 blah. we got everybody to initial this plat, which is not binding, but we had a plat made up and everybody initialed it that they agreed with it. So we went in and we surveyed the whole freaking place and got all the thousands of feet of line cut out. And then one girl would not sign off sign her name where she needed to divide the property out. So it had to go back to the judge, and my dad was there the day it was there, and he said, okay, since y'all can't come to a meeting of mine, I'm ordering it to be sold. And he pointed to my dad, and my dad said he pointed to him, and he said, and he is the first person that gets paid, because the bill was like $3,500, and so they had a sale for it, and it went for like 1/10 of what it should have went, because they just had to sell it. And so none of the family members got involved in it. One person is all it takes to screw something up. One person is all it takes to bitch at eBay because you screwed them up, or Amazon.
But don't miss this either. You know, as you're dealing with people, and people are, all the problems are people, you're a people too.
Yeah.
And a lot of the problem, a lot of your problems are your own doing. And most people are not mature enough, not in tune with enough of their sense of worth and where they are in their position and place and time to understand that, to look at it and go, what have I done wrong?
And I honestly think the COVID situation has made it worse, because for 2 years, nobody saw each other. They were ordering everything online, and they were doing everything through Zoom calls and that kind of thing. And I just believe that people just lost that ability to talk to other people. And
so Eric said you can tell who's on iOS 17, which is the new one that just came out.
I just got it yesterday.
You could not be so wrong, because, okay, tell me, here's my ringtone. Tell me if I'm on iOS 16 or 17.
Oh, you can do your own now? You can download your own ringtones now?
Yeah, you can get an app called Zedge, and you can have whatever ringtone you want.
On iPhone, it's still a little bit of you've got to go through Rock Band to convert it.
I used Zedge many years ago, but
yeah, you still got to be converted.
My ringtone is Macklemore Thrift Shop, and I love it when somebody calls me and I'm at an estate sale sourcing. They all stop and listen. Default.
All right, Eric.
I do have some questions for you after the show about iOS 17. Though,
so am I running 16 or 17 there, Eric?
I know what you're running, but I did download 17 yesterday. The one thing I did notice about it that I do not like is that it changed all my notification sounds, and now I can barely hear them. I'm actually on my driving apps.
And the answer is not your 17. I think I'm still stuck. I'm still on the release candidate. I think I've had
a beta.
I've had the beta of 17 for last.
I think you can just go into your update thing and get the.
Yeah, because the beta and the release candidate and the thing are the same, so they didn't. I'm waiting for the next one for 17.1 beta.
I've watched a lot of videos on 17, and it doesn't match everything on my phone because I have a 12, so not everything came through on the 12s, but.
No beta.
It seems to be some really cool stuff going on.
They're expecting the first beta today or tomorrow.
Brenda, you're right. Those are the best type of estate sales.
Yeah, they. I think Eric. I started out on the first one, number one. They're like, you shouldn't do this on your main driver. I'm like, whatever, let's go. It had a couple of quirks to it, but it actually wasn't too bad to start with.
They're getting ready to come out with a new one, aren't they? A new phone?
Friday.
You see how much I keep up with it.
Not this. It's this. Most people will start getting in their hands. The people who ordered first, it comes out this Friday.
Is that the iPhone.
All those little
15?
Chinese people
Yeah.
working.
15. Yeah, they're cracking the whip on them little 4-year-olds.
I'm
Get in
an,
line.
I'm an Android girl.
You know, there was a movie, and I don't remember. Dudley Moore was in it, and he was like an advertising executive, and he had a breakdown, and he started doing stuff like his commercials started coming out like, why did Japanese and Chinese make such good products? Because they're short and they're real close to the work, and it's like Volvo, it's a box. Everybody likes a box. But this would have been like in the 80s, when Volvos were.
Yeah, those are probably not appropriate commercials anymore.
Well, that was inside the movie, that was, and that's
Well,
the reason
still.
they sent him to this institute to work on his himself. But anyhow,
All right, well, y'all get 5 minutes less there. I gotta go use the restroom.
all right.
Coffee
Bye-bye.
and blood pressure medicine are mean.
Yep, that they are.
Love me some coffee though.
All right.
Bye.
So come
the same
see me
thing
on Thursday night, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. your guys' time, and we're going to talk about some things that you can do to maybe help your store and your listing. That's all I can say.
One of them is take better pictures. Okay.
Water out.
What is that, Cod?
It's his sales, I think. No, yeah.
No.
Silver hair stacker,
I've got,
$774.93.
4th place in last night's tournament.
Oh,
And you made $700 on the tournament?
Yep.
Nice.
yeah. Him and Mr. Sadie they're going to just drop off. We'll never see him again because they'll always be in poker tournaments.
All right, roll tide.
Bye.